All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Owari
Owari
Monogatari,
Episode 1. All right, a new arc.
Yep,
and
indeed.
Pretty sure Owari means the end. So
Yeah.
Or end. So
Something along those lines.
Is this it? Is
Like,
this like
Uh-huh.
the big ending kind of bit?
I don't know, because okay. In the previous arc,
The previous arc,
so we've had
Yotsugi went like really like pointed and was like, "I'm going to break the fourth wall and be like, hey guys, the end boss is Ogi.
right.
By the way,
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
mm,
Right. And then there was also the thing that in the Suruga arc we saw past the end. So does that mean that we're going to see the end and then like you were saying, like maybe lead up to it with like all the stuff that comes after?
yeah,
But chronologically it's still before.
right,
Like,
right. I feel like if anything, we're going to get like potentially stuff that is like the farthest chronologically we'll ever go.
mhm.
Or they're going to basically use this as like the build up to the like furthest chronological moment in the story for Araragi.
Oh boy.
But yeah, there's
Uh-huh.
always a lot of trepidation when we start a new arc because
Right.
it's like, wait,
Where are we going?
Where are we going? What are we
Yeah.
exploring? Which
Uh-huh.
character is getting, kind of dissected and
Right.
looked into here? So,
Yep.
y'all, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right, everyone, we're going to be starting the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Ogi formula.
Okay. Is this an Ogi arc?
Oh. Euler's identity. Ogi. The imaginary number, yeah. Whoa. Whoa, whoa.
All right.
Oh, but that's interesting, though. The perspective of what it would... Whoa. Whoa, okay.
Okay.
Oh. Oh.
Simulates everything. All right. Yeah. Let's just come right out and say it.
Hmm.
All right.
Whoa. I'm getting all kinds of vibes here that...
Okay.
Whoa. What an intro.
Okay.
All right, new OP, let's go.
I like it.
It's like there's a drop coming, you know?
Weirdly enough, this almost feels like one of the most traditional kind of sounds for OPs that Monogatari's done yet. Like in just being like high energy.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So desires, contradictions, who we are, what we want. Everything's upside down, turned around. There's so many perspective things going on right now in just what we saw in the intro, and then
this is trippy.
I love it.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
A true and just future. there's something already in the OP
Magnifying
that I feel
glass?
like I need to see again. They did a visual trick thing that I was like, wait a minute. So we're gonna be solving the mystery of Ogi. This is the whole
I
detective
guess.
thing.
Yeah.
The Ogi formula. Okay. The Matrix is real. Oh. Oh.
Is this how he met Ogi?
Whoa. Okay.
How did we get here?
Well, the question I think more like kind of succinctly is
Space.
yeah, is which one is the aberration here? Okay. Huh. That's logical. Oh, she does. Oh. Oh, it. What the? Right. There's some reason as to why you both are locked in here together. Zaguardo.
Okay. Exactly half a year. Okay.
So April. Okay.
Yeah, and exactly 6 months after he became one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The mysterious transfer student.
Right. It's perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
That's creepy. Oh. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Hmm.
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 Okay.
Yes, this would mean that. Hmm. But now they can leave the room.
Or I think this is how they get to the room that ends up being sealed.
Okay, yeah, that would have to be it. Yeah, okay. It is longer. And yep. So Ogi trapped Araragi in here.
Hmm.
And they want him to do something. Hmm. Right. Minute to 6. Oh, this is like a nightmare. Dude, this is a classic like
sure.
nightmare. This is like
Yeah.
you're constantly stuck at school.
Anxiety dream kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Araragi having to come to grips with some aspect of his fear or something. Like
Sure.
mm. Mm. I feel like it's something where Araragi knows what this is, but he's having trouble accepting it. Like his mind is like getting tripped out by the experience of it, where he's like, I need to just sit down and just figure this out.
Because it's in the middle.
Yeah, it is almost exactly in the middle. Yeah, it's an even number of chairs in terms of things there on the width and length, but it's one of the 4 in the middle. Yeah, just
Even though you don't sit in that one.
Oh, is it memory? Because he mentioned his first year, and then he kind of was like having this like
oh yeah
kind of thing there. Yeah. Oh. Jacob, what if this is a place that he had a moment in his past, and like he has to address some aspect of his past here?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
And he's staying in here because there's a nightmarish like aspect of it, something that
And that would fit with Ogie's whole thing of sort of like being the balancer, you know?
yeah, yeah. Whoa, okay. More nightmare fuel.
Oh yeah, and from the meta perspective of this is all Araragi's story,
Mm-hmm.
it would make sense, like in a sort of fourth wall breaking way, that Ogi wouldn't see it there because Araragi doesn't keep it in the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Remembered. Okay. Dude.
Yeah,
Dude.
I think you might have hit the nail on the head. Oh dang! Wow.
Oh shoot. Oh crap. Yeah, class 1-3. Oh dang. So he purged this from the floor plan of his own mind by
right.
being like, I don't want to remember what happened here. And the time being specific might be that there was something that like happened at that time. Oh.
One of the things that I thought was interesting was when it showed the like the chapter number at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It showed chapter 2, not chapter 1.
Oh. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa, dude. The Ogi formula. Ogi's the tie to the memory. Something that's like a
Sure.
ghost haunting Araragi, you know, something that is from his past. That's why she calls him Araragi Senpai. Like, bro.
Well, and that could also be why people don't really seem to ever interact with Ogi other than, well,
I mean, they do.
Suga
They
and
do.
Sengoku.
No, they do. They do. Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa,
Yeah.
really? Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting that Ogi kept saying wound,
Mm-hmm.
like referencing Kizu and 6 months after, exactly.
Yeah. Who are you told by?
Wait, really? Are we going all the way back to that?
I think
The
so.
personality change? Like,
Whoa. This is crazy.
wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm listening too.
And the color gets, like, changes to red.
We couldn't get out. Oh, so time being frozen. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Two years ago. Here we go. Oikura Sorachi. The Euler's identity formula.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whoa. Whoa, they're going back to that framing stuff they did in the very first episode. Oh. Oh.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay. So you had to moderate something? Transmission error.
Okay.
Oh, because he's disconnected from everything going on there. That's how negatively.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, whoa. Whoa.
Gotcha.
Jeez. Okay. Culprit that did what? Like,
Maybe it's not important, or
oh. Dang, okay.
all
Okay.
right.
They're building up what the culprit thing is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay.
Whoa.
Whoa. Oh.
Gotcha.
Cheating. Okay. Okay. And pass them around.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
No, there's not necessarily any proof of that.
Well, they're assuming based on the results.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. And Araragi wasn't there, so he was the moderator
Mm-hmm. Right.
because he's the only one that's. Yeah. Okay. Oh no! And then the pressure of
Mhm.
having to basically do
Yeah.
all that probably made him feel even more like alone and isolated. And right, that makes sense. Okay.
Oh yeah, he always said that he did okay at math. Oh
Whoa.
wow.
Whoa.
Jeez.
Oh. Oh, jeez. That means there's a possibility that he was the one that actually cheated.
Oh,
Oh.
gotcha.
Dang.
Wow.
All right, all right. Okay. Gotcha. This is like a...
Yeah.
It's like a regular mystery kind of setup here, but there's
Or a
multiple
witch hunt.
levels of mystery. Yeah, yeah, that too, potentially. Ugh. Oh. Oh. Like, we need to find the culprit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
God, this is so cool visually.
Yeah, it is. It is gorgeous.
Regret and guilt. Okay.
I find it interesting that Araragi apparently got 100 on the math exam, and yet he only said he was all right at math.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know.
Mm-hmm. There's a possibility he's the culprit. Yeah. Jeez.
All right.
Wow. Oh
Well.
my god, that is an
Okay.
opening episode.
That's really good.
That's insane.
Oh man.
Wow.
Like, I always get to this point where I'm like, okay, cool. There's no other empty spaces that Monogatari has left open to go back and like do an arc on, in the future.
Oh,
and
no,
every single time it's like, nope, you forgot about this. You forgot about this.
This is insane.
Wow. And I like how I really like that Oki is the one that causing Araragi to focus on this, because
she's the ghost of Christmas past. Like, literally,
Well, right.
like I think we've almost been told at this point kind of what Ogi like is as an aberration.
But it's something where
Yeah.
I can actually be kind of rooting for Ogi, even though she's still very weird in the whole thing where she keeps like draping her arms around his neck like she's choking him or something. But we haven't gotten something like that until now. Like, she's always been pretty antagonistic, I feel like. Okay.
I feel like the OP and ED is giving us actually like tons of relevant info.
Okay.
Oh my god.
All right.
I think this is one of my favorite opening episodes of Monogatari ever. In terms of the parts themselves. Like, this was so good. We had been building up so much with regards to Ogi just over the course of the over the course like the last half of the show.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, here we go. Let's like literally like break down the Ogi formula. Like, there's a math equation, there is a problem here.
Yeah.
And it is the key to solving basically the Ogi formula.
Right.
What she is, what like why and
but then there's also the whole idea of with Araragi, because the show has been Araragi's the main character, the story's about him, even though it involves the other characters. But
yeah, they have stories as well because they're characters, and characters of the story.
Especially recently, like with the previous arc, it's okay, Araragi, how you doing?
Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
You've come a long way.
Uh-huh.
You still have a ways to go.
Right.
And what is it that's sort of keeping you from getting there, right?
Mhm.
Because there are some things, you know, even if it wasn't necessarily always clear what they were, right?
Right.
But now, okay, let's go back to the very beginning. Yeah, you weren't in a good place at the beginning of this show, at the beginning of this story.
But we'll
Why?
go even before that.
Right.
We're going
What brought you to that
before
place?
that.
And yeah, because
Yeah.
right, because the whole idea, I love the distinction of the someone that didn't have friends versus someone that came to the realization that they didn't need friends.
Mhm.
Because those are two very different things.
Very different
right?
things, yeah.
And I like, and the whole idea of his personality changing and stuff between middle school and high school and all that and whatnot. It's like,
Mhm.
I hadn't thought about the fact that it's like, yeah, there could be something that happened, you know, around that time where,
Right.
and I don't know if it was even in the did they say in between, or was it that in the first year of, like, you know, when it came around to the first year of high school, his personality changed.
We can just go back and check.
Yeah, we can
but
probably go.
I think the big thing that we need to discuss here is that this intro, I think, is literally the story telling us. Would you like to know what Ogie is? Like, who Ogie is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything about Ogie. That we're going to explain it here,
Right? And I love that it literally shows like black holes,
Mhm.
you know, in the early bit of the episode, like.
Yes. Yeah, there were a couple things that they did with perspective also in the
Mhm.
intro bit that we'll get into in a second. But the main premise is that Araragi is locked in a classroom that has some tie to his past during his first year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He was a part of class 1-3.
Yep.
And something happened involving a math study session where they had someone that either cheated, or some combination of people that cheated or what have you, and got exam answers and spread them to everyone at the study session. And chose Araragi to be basically the arbiter, moderator of sorts, to determine who the culprit is, and it didn't work. But because of that incident, he changed.
Right.
And usually I'll say, there is a build-up along the way to the big moment that changes people in a negative way. But there is almost always a singular moment that pushes them off the edge, basically.
That makes them solidly change their perspective on something.
Right. Where they have to, in some ways, not just react to the stimuli coming in that is negative, but forcibly choose something and then
and cast
reject
off
a bunch of
everything
whole
else.
other things. Yeah, exactly. So Araragi, I feel like this very much reminds me of some aspects of A Christmas Carol kind of thing, where he's basically getting brought back, ghost of the past or what have you, coming back and basically being like, we're going to take you on this journey here of introspection and what have you. So I think in some ways we're already basically aware of kind of what Ogie is, because there was some aspect of Ogie that was basically like, okay, you know too much. You know things that just don't necessarily feel like you should know them. So on some level, I feel like this is literally like Ogie is an aberration of sorts that is a ghost of Araragi's past. Some kind of odd attachment of his to his pain, his anguish, his suffering, the depression, basically all the stuff that brought him from his early years of high school or what have you into the person that he is now.
Right.
And then went on the journey and met all these wonderful people who then, have him arrive to where he is right now.
Before we go much further, can you zoom in on the map, the timeline thing, so that we can get an exact knowledge of where because there's the fact that it's going back in time to before, to Araragi's first year. But okay, March 25th, so it would be September 25th, right?
What do you mean?
So when Araragi met Ogi for the first time, it was exactly 6 months post the beginning of Kizu, right?
Yeah, when Kambaru or Suruga basically introduced.
Right. So if it's September 25th, then that would mean that it is before.
Well, it's after.
It's after Tsubasa Tiger and things like that, but it is before the Nadeko arc. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like that does make sense. There was a point where
that was a decent time skip to there, and it was kind of one of those things like, oh, are they going to fill that in at some point? But
right.
But
yeah, but I feel like still that's more of something of where, because I feel like almost entirely at this point that Ogi is an aberration. Like Ogi is, like you're saying, some aspect of what the darkness is, but not actually a real person.
But one of the things that I think is important though is that this could give additional context for the ways that Araragi talks with Ogi in all the arcs in the future, and also just the idea of like, it makes sense, of course it'd be before Nadeko's arc, because that's Ogi's in that arc, so there exactly.
You go. I feel like in some ways what this is that Araragi has had memories. Araragi has had experiences of which that have lived with him and stayed with him, and like he said, he never forgot them, but he did try to essentially ignore them. And this is basically this kind of instance here, and where it is in the present. The reason why we're here now, is because this is something that the ghost essentially that is Ogi in a lot of ways is like, no, you must deal with this now. Oh, you must actually address this.
Which also is kind of interesting, given the fact that if this is given the timing of this, this is after Tsubasa Tiger, which is the resolution, essentially, of the arcs that we've gotten with Hanekawa up till this point.
Sure.
Who is the person that Araragi that was mentioned to have gotten Araragi out of that state where he thought he didn't need friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know if there's too much that can be gone into there. I don't know, but that
Hanekawa was his first friend.
Right. And the fact that that Monogatari breaks up the order because of thematic reasons, maybe that means that there isn't a thematic tie with this to Tsubasa Tiger, if that makes sense. But but it's just something that I thought of and figured it was worth mentioning.
I feel like what feels like it breaks apart. My theory as to kind of what's going on with Ogi here kind of breaks apart is the idea that Araragi met Ogi at some point. That just feels off.
Yeah, because like, up till now it's just like, okay, here's Ogi, right?
Ogi's here.
Ogi's here. Who's Ogi? Ogi is Ogi.
Ogi is Ogi, right? Yeah.
And we've never been actually introduced, and now suddenly we're getting introduced.
But to be fair, Suruga in a lot of ways feels like she has the biggest connection to Ogi because of that point where Ogi just bumps into Suruga at the like way later point, the Suruga Devil arc.
So it makes sense if Suruga introduced Ogi to Araragi.
Right.
There you go.
Right. But at that point, Ogi was like, I've always been a boy. What are you talking about? I've always been a boy.
Yeah.
And Suruga's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. You've always been a boy. Like, like that always was a thing where I'm like,
right.
Okay, what's the reason? And I thought the reason for that, just constantly thinking about that kind of bit there was, something happened in the chronology of the whole events here because Suruga Devil was such a far in advance time skip that something changed. Something something shifted.
It wasn't just Ogi being fluid. It was no. That's actually like the timing and everything.
The timing matters. But I want to go out there and say that I don't know. I just like, I'm starting to doubt a lot of like what we've been kind of told about Ogi.
Okay.
I feel like the further back you go, the more important any kind of information regarding the whole thing is.
Which if you think about it, especially if Ogi is the final boss or whatever of Monogatari,
right,
it would then make sense that you don't show the beginning. One, because it might not be thematically relevant, but also two, from the standpoint of not revealing the mystery too quickly.
Right.
Since the beginning stuff is the most important, then have the beginning stuff happen later. That way it's further along in the process when you start to uncover things a bit more.
Right.
But
so in this case here, Araragi gets put into a situation, one with a bunch of people that he has no connection with. So he sees them all as like their name tag, like kind of titles there, and they have this like kind of thing. That feels to me like the idea that they're hostile, that there's some kind of thing where they're unknowable, and he doesn't really like going near them.
And that makes sense if they're being accused of cheating, and they're saying we're going to find out who cheated when he did better than they did, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a like. Because when this was brought up, I immediately wondered, what if this is a witch hunt and no one actually cheated, right? Like that, like that could be a thing, right?
That could be a thing,
and if it's a no one's leaving until we find out, it's like, well, okay, this is
Kobayashi Maru. We can't win.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's actually a witch hunt at that point. It's like, all right, if we can't find out, that means you're a witch, and if we do find out, you admitted to being a witch. Like
you weigh as much as a duck. Congratulations.
Right, exactly. If you haven't drowned yet, then that means you're being protected.
Right. Like, yeah, this is all very logical, by the way.
Yeah.
The math study, session, it's super logical.
But that too. But then also like as far as like how it could have really personal impact on Araragi, what if it was something where like, I don't know, like how could it be something where maybe he was tied to it, either from the fact that he wasn't tied to it and he still got the 100, or maybe because there actually was something that he did, whether it was he himself did cheat or something, or something, who knows, right?
Yeah.
And that's why this has become such a like traumatic block from my mind kind of a thing. Like,
but he can't block it. That's the thing I think that's really important to bring up, is that for some reason this has stuck with him in his mind all this time.
And yet he avoids it.
And yet he avoids it actively. Yeah, it is that kind of that instance of, shoot, I don't want to bring up Doctor Who, but like the idea of like when you're looking at something, you actively kind of look to the side there and try to kind of, that's there, but I'm not looking at it. It's not a problem. I'm looking over here. There's a monster in Doctor Who that does that. But they were doing a couple things in this episode, perspective-wise, and they constantly showed Araragi basically being like, he was like in pain. He's like, I know about all this, but I'm actively trying to be like, no, I'm not looking at it. I don't have to think about it.
Which means that's got to be a really tough thing.
Well, I think we have barely even gotten to scratch the surface as to actually what happened in the room.
Yeah.
Because if it's just this, I don't feel like that's enough.
There's something that makes it worse,
way worse,
and that's why he avoids it so much. When you originally brought up the whole thing, and maybe there was something traumatic that happened, I was like, oh god, what was the only other time we saw something like that happen in Monogatari? Senju first arc, right? And and I was like, I hope Araragi didn't have to go through something like that too.
Well, yeah, I think what's also good to bring up is that he was already in a bad place when he was here. When he was here for the first time, he was already alone. And there was something that they brought up here that was rather pointed. Ogi said that, so you were just as alone then as you are now. And I'm like, well, that's like actually like that doesn't feel true. That feels like kind of that aspect of Ogi that keeps trying to be like, come, Araragi, fall into despair.
Well, and then Araragi said the whole thing of the it's not the story of how I became alone, or of how I got to the point where I had no friends. It's how I decided I didn't need friends, right?
Yeah.
And
weirdly though, Senju was here.
Yeah, which is like, of course, because they were in the same class and everything.
Right. So did she end up getting? She ended up getting removed as not one of the culprits, basically.
Wait a minute. Did they? Wait. Hold on. No, they didn't have the same. They weren't in the same class in Bake, were they? But they did mention, I think, at some point that they did share a class.
Okay.
Like, and that was how he knew her. Like that. Oh yeah, we were in the same class at some point, right? I knew of her, kind of a thing, right?
Right. She was. In this case, he knew of her kind of thing of that she was frail.
But geez, that is crazy. Like that level of pre-planning
Yeah.
for this. That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay.
But-
so
But so she was there. I'm guessing she won't have any importance or relevance really to the story. It's just she was there, or maybe she will. But like, because he doesn't really know her in Bake. He
No.
just knows of her, so that there isn't any actual
Yeah.
like lasting connection that happens here.
so I want to bring up the nightmare thing again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's crazy that this whole thing seems to be something that was fully prepared and planned.
Yeah.
But I want to bring up the idea that this is something that if you have kind of a Ghost of Christmas Past kind of situation here,
Uh-huh.
usually it's not really that there's a ghost or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually just your guilt manifesting as a thing of where you've ignored this for so long,
Mm-hmm.
you are no longer able to do that.
Right.
And I think what they've been building up over the course of the story
Mm-hmm.
is that Araragi has gone on this journey where he's been helping tons of people. He's been kind of the sacrificial savior, going around constantly doing all
Yep.
these things for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're now probably getting here is a lot of what made him want to do that. What made him want to be the person he is now.
Mm-hmm.
Something that would have been negative, but except for the fact that there were people like Hanakawa, there were
Uh-huh.
people that were in his path that helped him out, that
Right.
basically ended up helping him. So he, maybe feeling so much in a desire to help other people, ends
Mhm.
up not actually taking care of himself, kind of avoiding the problem, being
Right,
like, I don't
sort of-
see that. So-
Yeah, right.
So then he ends up going on this thing of doing all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the course of the show, there have been all these little like chinks put into his armor being like, hey, take care of yourself, take care of yourself, take care of yourself. You
Mhm.
better take care of yourself. You can't ask everyone else to save you. You saving them doesn't save you. Like, you need to take
Uh-huh.
care of yourself. And it's like reached like peak volume in the recent arcs where it's like people are almost like shaking him, being like,
Right.
you need to take care of yourself. And I think this is just the capitulation of,
Yes.
okay, everything else shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go inward and focus on this.
Now
so,
it's-
so I think the Ogi thing, I think the Ogi thing of meeting Ogi through Tsuruga at that
Mhm.
point, I just don't buy it. I actually just don't buy it. I feel like Ogi was someone he met here. Like, Ogi is a part of this thing. That's why Ogi is here. Why is Ogi here if you met her like way later?
Mhm.
There's like
Yeah.
Ogi's an aberration. Ogi's not
Right.
like
Something that I just realized.
ah,
With the whole thing of Nishio-Isin doing things out of order, but thematically in order.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
Where it's thematically relevant. So,
I mean, a lot of it is in order.
yeah.
Chronologically is what you're meaning, right?
But chronologically, a lot of it's out of order.
a lot of it jumps around.
A lot of it jumps around for the
Uh-huh.
purpose of being thematically, one following the other, right?
Sure.
And in the previous arc, we got a lot of focus on Araragi and him needing to take care of himself, and then in this arc, we're following up on that, right?
Mhm.
Now the thing is that in the previous arc, or rather in this arc, it's still going back in time from the previous arc. It's going
Right.
back in time quite a bit,
Quite a
and
bit.
then bringing this up. So if in the previous arc, Araragi is still having people being like, hey, you need to take care of yourself,
Mhm.
then that means that in some way this is not going to get fully resolved. It might get resolved to an
Oh.
extent within the context of this immediate situation.
You
but
can't
the
solve the
deeper-
problem until you're aware there's a problem.
Right, but the deeper issue is still going to be there. So is
Yeah.
this going so how is that going to reconcile with where Araragi is in the future?
God, I don't know,
Like-
but this is such a great setup premise for
Oh,
so
yeah.
many
Uh-huh.
kind of aspects of what
Mhm.
makes Araragi's story within Monogatari so interesting.
Mhm.
So, God.
And I gotta say, I really like that. As far as what we've seen thus far, it could
Mhm.
totally get vicious and awful, right? And I'm assuming it's going to. But the fact that this incredibly traumatic thing that happened to Araragi was not something that is in the as far as what we've seen so far, it doesn't seem to be in the brutal area of trauma. It seems more like something that's going to be in the sort of normal trauma, but Insidious in the normality of it, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Where it's
Explain.
like
going.
so in the case of like, I'm really glad it's not something like what Senjikahara had happen with her, right? But the fact that it's
Right.
in this classroom,
Probably not. No.
it's like this seems like something where it's like, from the outside, someone might look at this and be like, yeah, this is sort of a not a normal thing, but it's not too big of a deal. This shouldn't cause too much trouble for Araragi as a person, right? You know, it's nothing that would like blare any alarm bells for like other people necessarily, or you know, or Araragi's parents if he told them about it or things like that. But
Are you sure?
Well, I mean, maybe
I don't feel like we've gotten enough info to go that far.
That's true. We haven't, right? But I guess just from the general classroom setup, like it's going to be something that will tear Araragi up inside,
right?
You know,
right?
But it won't be as
Mhm.
obvious necessarily from the outside.
Yeah, I feel like the classroom is an example to lull us though into that false sense of security.
That
it's,
might be. Yeah,
it's normal. Everything is wonderful, but then literally the whole setup is
it's going to get awful,
right?
Yeah,
but this is I think a thing that I feel like I've seen this style of story set up before. Is when you go internal into a person, there are a lot of details that when they're being introspective, details that get like harped on to be like, these all tie together to fit the pieces of a puzzle. Now, this is literally a mystery. This is literally a mystery story setup.
Yep.
And I feel like if you're going to set up a mystery thing, you cover all the important detail variables that are like rock solid, meaning they don't change. They're immutable. They're foundational pieces that form the corners of the puzzle. Then, before you even know what kind of image you're looking at in the puzzle, you then go on the borders. And I feel like we haven't even gotten those borders yet. The only border we have, really, literally, is the classroom. It happened here.
Right.
And that is the only really big thing I think we know yet, that there is Araragi cannot leave here. And Ogi is actually being, like you said, the most helpful, the most almost like friendly, but like not just
like,
friendly,
like tough
but
love
like,
kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of a thing of like, hey, Araragi, you need to.
You gotta face the music. Like this is a thing that happened.
Now, here's the thing that's that's curious about this, and this is the nightmare thing that I haven't really brought up here, is that oftentimes when you're having a dream, you're having some kind of a thing like that, it's just subconscious stuff bubbling up to the surface, and you get to kind of think about it and look at it in an abstract, weird kind of way. But we don't understand dreams really. But the point is that in this instance, there's a lot of nightmare-esque things that I'd say are typical of people when they get a nightmare. It's a combination of a lot of things that make you go that way. But because this is tied to a literal, physical, actualized moment in the past,
right,
that I'm like 100% certain we can take literally, like this actually happened, or what have you. That all the things that we can't necessarily take as literally here in the present as to like why it's being visualized this way, why it's all doing that, is to let us know that we are inside, like we are inside his head. We are going to get into Araragi here.
We're doing some deep mental surgery right here.
Right. But when we go inside Araragi's head in this way, it's almost through the context of a nightmare. So this whole thing is something that is so bad. It's so bad that it is actually something that he might not be ready to address. When you have someone that has a moment that is in their past that is really painfully impactful for them, this is why like Ogi has to be some kind of aberration, specifically like almost tied directly to this. You as a friend, as someone who's trying to help them in some ways, you can't push someone into the nightmare and say, figure it out. Like, you can, but that is not helpful all the time.
Right.
It can be a thing where it's like...
It can be helpful.
It can be.
But sometimes it's not. And if it's not, how do you know? And that can cause sometimes more damage.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
So Ogi in this case, while seeming like, I would say, the most helpful Ogi's been thus far, I feel it's actually not as much as we think.
Gotcha.
So, sorry. Rant over.
one of the things that I find really interesting about how they set this up here is that we know the damage that it causes, right? It's deeply traumatic. Araragi avoids it, and it caused him to think that he didn't need friends, right? Not just that, okay, he didn't have friends, but he doesn't need friends. Now, the fact that usually I wouldn't think it would go in that order of that you don't have friends and then you decide you don't need friends. Usually I would think that you have friends and then there would be some sort of betrayal or something, and then at that point you cut off your friends and you decide you don't need friends. The fact that he doesn't have friends here I think is really interesting because
that he wanted friends still at that point.
Yes, right. And maybe that's where the hurt can come in, but in this situation here, if he doesn't have any friends, how can he truly be hurt? Because you can be hurt by people that you don't know. That definitely is a thing, right? But the worst hurt comes from people that you do know, or people where you value their opinion, you want to be friends with them, you want to have connection with them, and then it gets spurned, right? He doesn't know Senjigahara at this point. The only other named character here is the class president, right? And she doesn't like him. She actively doesn't like him because he does better than her in math. Right? So there's a part of me that wonders if this is actually kind of something that she's doing to intentionally hurt him from the get-go, right? Not just something that happens sort of as a result.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, is the reason that this ends up hurting him not just I don't want to be friends with that person, but I don't want to have friends at all.
Right.
That feels like it needs to be something that goes beyond just a single instance of that person to something more general. And even if it was in something with that person, he would need to actually there would need to be something about the class president, for instance, where he wants to have a connection with that person in order for that to be spurned by them. Unless it's something that goes outside of the individual classmates and more into the situation that he gets put in, right? Like, because in order for it to
starting to lose me.
Okay,
I'm following for the most part,
basically that in order for Araragi to have that end result of that, I don't believe having friends is even necessary or worth it or a good idea. It would either need to be a incredibly strong single instance, or it would need to be something that applies to more of the general. Right?
Well, I think they already told us that it applies a lot to the general because he was already alone.
Right.
When he went into this classroom and was set up as the moderator,
he was still alone. Yeah.
No. Like, he was put on a pedestal alone. He is now an object of everyone's observation as being like, you're alone. Sure.
And ire probably. And based on
what the event ends up becoming. So I think in some ways it is both. But the general stuff has already been, I'd say, laid out groundwork-wise.
Yeah.
It is a specific event. But general stuff, I would say, has already been laid out because he was not in a good way before coming here.
Yeah, but then even within this event, there's the general thing of the fact that the entire classroom kind of looking at him and all that stuff.
Yeah, I want to bring up something here when, because I wanted to then look again at the part where Tsuruga introduces Oshino-Ogi. Araragi has this kind of look in his eye that I feel like I kind of understand it in a weird way. There's a possibility that I'm kind of right and wrong with actually things with regards to Ogi here. Tsuruga did introduce Ogi to Araragi. But the thing is that there's something about Ogi that is in and of itself something that ties back to the moment. To July 15th, to that bit there, because his look in his eye here is like, I know her,
right?
Like, it's a thing of where, because this is why I think it's both. Of course, that Tsuruga thinks she's actually introducing Ogi for the first time, but no, this is an actual like person that Araragi knows from the past.
The only
and while there is an aberration tie-in there somewhere. It is more with regards to Araragi's probable like guilt or remorse or just trauma and what have you with how that event took place. Because his look here is not I've never met you before. It's oh crap.
Right.
Is that who I think it is? Oh God, no.
One thing I will say though is that Ogi is an underclassman. So unless it's something where she like got held back a year or something, she shouldn't have been one of the people in the classroom because that's for one class 1 year, right?
I think that's the aberration bit. The fact that perspective-wise, this is something that might be a little bit dark here.
Okay.
but Araragi can't see her as she actually is. That's why the eyes
Oh.
and the hands
Okay.
and all of that is so off.
All
he
right.
sees her as she was in class 1-3.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like that as far as like it's a continuation of the whole avoidance thing, and also even though Ogi doesn't have to be the darkness thing,
Mhm.
but I think that was a similar thing that was used to describe the darkness as being something that you couldn't quite look at, but you just sort of
Oh.
knew it was there. Like
Oh, was that right?
something along those lines, because it wasn't just that it wasn't described as being darkness, like
Right.
absence of light. It was just a sort of
An all-consuming void.
an
yeah.
all-consuming void that you couldn't perceive. You could you knew it was there, but you couldn't directly perceive it, right? So I don't know, like that's just something that makes me wonder.
Okay. I just feel like it's a combination of a thing of where Araragi is deathly afraid of
Uh-huh.
Ogi. And I mean,
Right.
this is a combination of recognition in his eyes there, fear,
Mm-hmm.
and something else. And
Right.
I'm guessing that something else is the bit of, crap, I finally looked at it again. I had been avoiding
Sure.
the past thing for
Mhm.
so long.
Yeah.
And because he's now brought it back up,
Right.
ever since then, he's been dwindling down. Like,
Oh,
I'll
wait.
bet you what they're going to do here is they're going to use this event to recontextualize Araragi's journey from the point where he was introduced to Ogi,
Uh-huh.
and he starts going on a downward spiral again because of this whole event here.
Okay, crazy idea
Uh-huh.
that I need to kind of pull out
Uh-huh.
fully. Exactly 6 months after Kizu,
Mhm.
right? I think
Yeah.
that's important. They mention that, and anytime it's like it's exactly a sort of set numerical amount of time, right? It's not like
Okay.
half a year, right?
Sure.
There's the theory of Ogi being the void, the darkness, and all that stuff,
Mhm.
right? Correcting things where they're not being true to that aspect of themselves or whatever, right?
Oh.
A vampire that's not being a vampire, a ghost that's not being a ghost, right?
Right.
Uh, in this situation here, Araragi, this is a 6 month. It's a half anniversary of the time when he stopped believing in something that he'd been believing for 2 years of I don't need
Oh.
friends,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So maybe this is something where Ogi is that aberration that he created within himself during those 2 years,
Mhm.
and then he left it, he ran away from
Uh-huh.
it,
Yeah.
and now Ogi is trying to chase him down again,
Yeah.
right? And basically be like, hey, remember when you created me?
Yeah.
Remember when,
Yeah.
like this is when I started, right?
Mhm.
And that's why it's Ogi's arc, right?
Uh-huh.
The Ogi formula, right? Because
Right.
this is
What-
where she came into being.
What factors, what variables
Mhm.
added up to make Euler's identity,
Right. And-
Ogi's identity.
And maybe this is too tinfoil hat, but with what Ogi said to Suruga in the post arc
right.
of I've always been a boy. One of the things that I thought was kind of interesting, and maybe it was just because of Ogi's school uniform, because of course the school uniform is the same for all the boys at the school, but that Ogi kind of sort of looked a little bit like Araragi.
Yeah,
and-
definitely.
And the idea of
Yeah.
if that
I
could
use
be,
that as basically the thing to almost be like there's a extreme tie to Araragi.
right, and
like,
maybe that's what
very
this
big tie.
is in the sense of the I've always been a boy. It's that because I'm that shade of Araragi or whatever.
Right. It's tied to a memory.
Mm-hmm.
It's tied to Araragi's memory.
Right.
It's tied to an Araragi memory that is extremely painful,
Mm-hmm.
and yet it like Ogi has this haunting quality, and they have been doing a lot more stuff with ghosts recently.
Uh-huh.
I feel like this is something like that, where this is an aberration of sorts that is maybe using a person as a vessel upon which Araragi sees them in a specific way,
Yeah.
so that Araragi then has to address this pain, this
Mhm.
wound, this specific kind of thing
Right.
that has been like holding him back all this time, and until he gets basically aware that this problem is a problem that he needs to address, he's going to be stuck inside of his own mind. Like, this is a is a really scary place for Araragi, because if this whole thing with Ogi is right, then he is actually alone. He is actually alone, having to confront this himself, because Ogi is no more Ogi than Ogi is even just a figment, memory, aberration of something in Araragi's past. So we are in a really, really dark and scary place for Araragi here, because in the same way that we don't know what happened in the past, Araragi has been trying to basically separate that past from himself via just whatever's been going on in his story up until now.
So
good, bad, whatever.
Crazy thing that I just thought of.
Jeez, this is getting deep.
Ogi is some aberration, manifestation, whatever, because of this made by Araragi, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
What's the thing that Ogi always says to Araragi, especially recently? Oh, you're having other people try and save you? Lame, pathetic, whatever. You should save yourself, don't you know? Don't you remember what my uncle said? You can only save yourself. Now, Ogi only essentially appeared to Araragi after he had met Oshino. So it could be that basically it's that subconscious aspect of what Oshino had always told him, which Oshino said it. Oshino said it over and over again too, right? And very kind of pointedly to Araragi. And it's something of, oh yeah, I'm still avoiding that. I'm the only one who can stop it. Blah, 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 blah. All these other people are saying that I should depend on them to help me. No, I'm the only one who can save it. I know I'm the only one who can stop this and save myself. But I don't want to do that. It's scary. I'm just going to keep avoiding it. And
here we are.
Yeah,
I feel like we're like 98%.
Yeah, like I feel like there's details where we're off on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But the idea, the general theme and everything is on point.
Because this is okay. So here's the freaky thing about this is I feel like I've seen this kind of thing before. This is rather familiar. So when you have pain associated with something in your past, one of the easiest things to do to kind of not address it, but just kind of move on from it in terms of ease, is basically just to absorb yourself in so much of other things that you kind of
you don't have time.
You don't have time to think about it. Yeah, exactly. You're so busy. You're so busy. Well, here's something that's really painfully just realistic, I would say, about this whole thing, is that you can't do that forever.
You really can't.
And the thing is that in some ways, this is the perfect example to break the stupid phrase. I hate this phrase so much. Time doesn't heal all wounds. Time makes unaddressed wounds fester.
Right. And just progresses what is there.
A wound is a wound. It is not a scar where it's basically just a reminder there. It's actually like a bleeding hole.
Yep.
And if you
start the healing process, then apply time, definitely.
Sure. Yeah.
But you need to start the healing process.
But you need to start the healing process here. And I think that there's been moments specifically where I'm like, Ogi, you actively seem to be against Araragi. There are like moments where I'm like, I do not feel safe with Araragi around you. Like, Araragi should not be like accommodating this. And the more and more we like are coming to the realization that no, Ogi is like integrally tied to Araragi's past. I think that this is an example in a lot of ways of how Araragi views himself, how he actually is not dealing with this. So when we see him doing these wonderful things, this is him trying to keep busy,
right,
so that he doesn't have to deal with this. And I hope we get a happy ending with this here. But one of the things that's rather scary is that when it rains, it pours. And this is something that we said in the last arc specifically with regards to just everything just starting to go a little bit wrong for Araragi here. Wouldn't you know it, but that the whole when it rains, it pours kind of arc then leads directly into this in terms of how we're watching it or what have you. I'm sure there's different orders or what have you, but he doesn't have any choice now. He literally cannot get away from this.
Yeah.
But this is the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
There is no proof necessarily, and this is something that anyone that has dealt with depression knows. There is no guarantee that you addressing the problem, like addressing it, going at it, and actively sitting down and realizing I'm going to have to deal with this, means that you're going to make it through the actual process. Sometimes you literally just need like help professionally, like actively bringing another person in and be like, I cannot do this on my own. Now, it is your choice that brings that other person in there. So in that respect, yes, you are the only one that can save yourself.
Because if someone else were to force...
Oshino was right. That statement is true.
Yeah.
It is the most like powerful statement really this show makes, like constantly. It's
pretty much
so good. But the thing is that there are times where you are actually not in the best place to go after the thing. It is tactically, so to speak, the wrong choice. It is not a good time for this. That is okay. And I feel like this is the instance where Araragi...
it's not the right time.
It's not the right time.
Yeah, well, because
he is not here of his own choice.
I don't think this arc will have a happy ending.
No, I don't think not only will this arc not necessarily have a happy ending, I think there's going to be unhappy middles where he's going to realize that at some point. Now, here's the part that I actually get kind of excited about. That's part I get excited about with regards to it will have a happy ending here. What's the one friend person, if you will, that's like, whether they want to or not, has just always been by Araragi here. The one that eats aberrations. Right. The one that actively is in some ways the awkward guardian of our boy here.
Yep.
Shinobu hasn't done anything in this whole instance here.
Now it's day-ish time, so there's that.
No, but remember what happened in the previous arc with regards to their connection.
Oh.
Yeah. You've never been more alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then we're going back in time to a place where Shinobu wasn't there. I think on some level, this arc is going to be about Araragi needing to either rebuild the connection with Shinobu or have to acknowledge that he is actually alone and that he can't do this all by himself. And not give up, but basically not try to solve this himself.
He hasn't split from Shinobu yet, though.
Well, I know, but
okay.
But what happened in the immediate beginning of when he realized, can't open any of the windows or the doors. I guess we'll just wait for someone to help us. And then Ogi's like, whoa, let's not give up. Let's not give up trying to solve things.
Right.
Ourselves here.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking back on that line and I'm like, oh, that's the key. That's the key right here, is that it's actually just as simple as asking for help. And that would be so symbolically perfect. In that,
but the thing is, we know that he can't do that because in the previous arc, which is way after this, he still hasn't figured that out. So it's,
I'm still holding on to it. I don't care. I don't care. That is something that So I think we're in for one of the best arcs in Monogatari at this point, just with how much we were able to discuss out of just the one episode. And I feel like there are a lot of other little kind of detailed moments in the episode here that kind of went into little kind of, I would say little kind of tricky little specific details where it's kind of bringing the point home that Ogi and Araragi are more tied together than we could really even think. And in some ways the aberration aspect of Ogi being tied probably to the past with this whole thing here is such that if we were looking at it maybe even closer, we'd find a couple other hints along those lines there. But I'm pretty satisfied with like what I think we've gotten by putting our brains together.
Watch, we're actually completely wrong and it's something else.
No, I feel like at this point
we're on the trail.
I feel like at this point we are actively like we're going down not only the right trail, but we've like hit some pretty serious milestones here, because the show is being rather pointed about how much this is an exploration of Araragi's internal state. And why would Ogi be here and no one else? This is Ogi's origin, identity, journey, mystery exploration, or what have you as well. And the reason for that is that Ogi is integrally tied to Araragi's past and his own internal state in some way that is probably insanely depressing. And
probably.
Yeah. That's the first episode of Owari Monogatari, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there, and any level of support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
That's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel, and it's really cool. It's called Battle Lines. If you're interested in checking it out, link is in the description to Amazon, where you can purchase it.
Yeah, so if anything that interests you, we'll see it there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.